When they arrived at Sabaody Archipelago, Luffy's eyes sparkled with wonder, but Rayleigh wasted no time in whipping the boy into shape. Rayleigh initially attempted to teach Luffy the basics of swordsmanship. He handed the boy a lightweight practice sword and demonstrated simple movements, but no matter how much Luffy tried, his strikes were wild, erratic, and lacked precision. Luffy mostly spent his time practicing with his fists. One day, in frustration, Luffy tossed the practice sword aside during a sparring session, grabbed a random wooden stick lying nearby, and swung it. Rayleigh had an idea. He got Luffy a staff and realized the boy might have potential with it. Though the movements were crude, there was a natural flow to them. From that day forward, Luffy trained with the staff, using it to block, strike, and even incorporate it into his unpredictable, acrobatic fighting style. Over time, he infused his growing mastery of haki into the weapon, giving his strikes devastating force along with the power he put behind his fists. Luffy's haki training was grueling. Rayleigh pushed him relentlessly, teaching him the two types of haki, observation and armament. Rayleigh blindfolded Luffy and made him dodge attacks while listening to the presence of the world around him. Luffy struggled at first, often getting smacked by Rayleigh's practice sword, but his instincts sharpened with time. Soon, he could sense even the smallest changes in his surroundings, avoiding attacks with uncanny precision. To strengthen Luffy's strikes, Rayleigh taught him to harden his body and weapon with armament haki. Luffy practiced for hours, trying to break rocks with his staff, his fists, or even his head. Eventually, Luffy learned to coat his body and his staff in shimmering black haki, making it an extension of his will. After a few years, a new power suddenly arose inside our hero. The first time Luffy used it, he accidentally knocked out a flock of birds while trying to call them closer for lunch. Luffy had used Conqueror's haki! This power came naturally to Luffy, though Rayleigh taught him how to control and channel it. The old man laughed until tears streamed down his face when he realized what happened to the birds, knowing the boy's potential was extraordinary. Every few months, Rayleigh brought Luffy along to Amazon Lily, where he often checked on Boa Hancock. A warlord of the sea, Boa initially regarded Luffy with disdain, seeing him as just another bratty male kid. But Rayleigh had saved the Gorgon sisters, and Boa tolerated their savior's disciple. Luffy's curiosity about the island's culture, its warriors, and its unique flora quickly won over the Kuja warriors, who found his energy and fearlessness endearing. One day, during an argument, Boa decided to test Luffy and turned her powers on him. When Boa Hancock unleashed her love beam with a confident declaration, she fully expected Luffy to succumb like every other soul who had dared to stand before her. But to her shock, the beam had no effect. Luffy, utterly unfazed, simply blinked in confusion, scratching his head and asking why she was making strange faces. The entire island was left in stunned silence, their empress's unparalleled beauty rendered powerless against the carefree young man. At first, Boa's frustration was palpable. How could someone resist her, let alone remain completely oblivious? Yet, as she continued to observe Luffy, her anger began to soften. His unshakable resolve, genuine kindness, and infectious goofiness slowly broke down her defenses.